Let's dive into a number that's causing waves across the tech industry, a figure that's hard to overlook and even harder to forget. 4,348%. Yes, you heard that right. This staggering percentage represents Cambricon Technology's reported revenue surge, a figure that's impossible to ignore and is making headlines worldwide. This isn't just a good quarter, it's a monumental shift, signaling that China's tech sector is actively reshaping the global semiconductor landscape. For years, Nvidia was the undisputed king of AI chips, powering everything from advanced language models to essential cloud services. But now, Cambricon's explosive growth suggests the market is no longer a one-horse race. The competition is heating up. This is a state-backed company with tangible financial results, not just empty hype or speculation. The stakes are enormous. AI chips are the new oil, the very foundation of the 21st century's technological advancements. Cambricon's rise is a clear sign that the competitive dynamics in the tech world are changing, and they're changing fast. The entire world is watching closely, because this could very well be the start of a new era in AI hardware, one that redefines the industry. That 4,348% isn't just a number, it's the opening shot in the global tech battle, a battle that could change everything. A 4,000% revenue jump sounds wild, almost unbelievable at first glance. It's the kind of headline that makes investors and analysts sit up straight, wondering if they've just witnessed the birth of a new tech giant overnight. But let's put it in perspective, because numbers alone don't tell the whole story. Growth rates can be eye-popping, but context is everything. Cambricon's first half 2025 revenue hit about $1.15 billion. A huge leap by any standard, especially for a company that was barely on the radar just a few years ago. Still, it's important to remember that this is just a fraction of Nvidia's staggering $60 billion annual haul, which puts things into perspective. Cambricon is a rocket just lifting off, fueled by ambition and a rapidly expanding market. Nvidia, on the other hand, is a mothership already in orbit, commanding a view of the entire industry from above. The real story isn't that Cambricon will overtake Nvidia tomorrow, it's about the trajectory, the speed at which Cambricon is accelerating, and the momentum it's building in a fiercely competitive landscape. Just a few years ago, Cambricon was barely a blip on the radar, a small startup with big dreams. Now, it's a billion-dollar player, thanks in large part to a protected home market and strong government support that has allowed it to flourish. This proves that a non-Nvidia AI ecosystem is not just possible but real and growing. Cambricon's rise is a testament to the potential for innovation outside the established giants. The gap between the two companies is still massive, but Cambricon is closing it fast, at least within China, where local demand and policy support are driving rapid adoption. Nvidia's global dominance remains intact for now, but Cambricon's meteoric rise signals a market that's beginning to fracture along geopolitical lines, with China and the US leading separate tech ecosystems. The AI chip market is no longer a monolith. Instead, it's evolving into a landscape with multiple players, each carving out their own territory and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Cambricon is positioning itself as the primary beneficiary of this new, divided landscape, aiming to become the go-to choice for AI hardware in China and potentially beyond. It's not about overtaking Nvidia overnight, it's about building a credible, sustainable alternative that can stand on its own and compete on the world stage. The world is watching closely to see if this rocket can keep climbing, or if it will stall before reaching the heights of its American rival. The next few years will be critical in determining whether Cambricon can truly break out of its orbit and become a global force in AI chips. For now, the race is officially on, and the world is watching every move. Cambricon's remarkable surge can't be separated from the fierce US-China tech rivalry that's been unfolding over the past decade. The competition between these two global powers has shaped the landscape of innovation, investment, and policy, especially in the field of artificial intelligence and semiconductors. US restrictions on high-end AI chips, particularly those made by Nvidia, were designed to slow China's technological progress and limit its access to the world's most advanced hardware. These export bans sent shockwaves through the industry, cutting off Chinese companies from the chips that power cutting-edge AI. But those sanctions created a vacuum. Chinese tech giants still needed powerful chips to keep their data centers running and their AI ambitions alive. The sudden shortage left companies scrambling for alternatives. Enter Cambricon, a homegrown chipmaker ready with a good-enough domestic solution. While not as advanced as Nvidia's, Cambricon's chips offered a lifeline to Chinese firms desperate to keep innovating. The sanctions effectively became a government-enforced market protection policy, giving Cambricon a safe zone to grow and experiment. With official support, the company could focus on scaling up production and improving its technology. In a normal open market, a young company like Cambricon would struggle to compete against a giant like Nvidia, which dominates the global AI chip sector. But in this new environment, Chinese firms were not only incentivized but sometimes required to buy local. Government policies and patriotic sentiment aligned to support domestic innovation. It wasn't just about patriotism, it was about supply chain security. Relying on foreign chips had become a risk, so companies turned to Cambricon to ensure their operations wouldn't be disrupted. Cambricon quickly became the strategic choice, even if its chips weren't the world's best. The company's products filled a critical gap, allowing Chinese tech to keep moving forward. Ironically, US policies turbocharged China's domestic chip industry, accelerating investment and innovation at a pace few expected. What was once a long-term goal, achieving tech self-reliance, suddenly became an immediate necessity. The entire industry shifted gears almost overnight. Cambricon found itself in the right place, with the right products, at exactly the right time. The company seized the moment, rapidly expanding its reach and capabilities. Its revenue surge is a direct result of this geopolitical tailwind, as demand for domestic chips soared and investors poured in capital. The lesson? Political decisions can reshape entire markets overnight, creating winners and losers in ways no one can fully predict. Cambricon's rise is a case study in unintended consequences, a vivid example of how policy can spark innovation and shift the balance of power. The global chip race just got a lot more interesting, and the world will be watching to see who takes the lead next. Cambricon's rise isn't just about hardware, it's about building an ecosystem. Nvidia's secret weapon is CUDA, its software platform. Cambricon needed its own, so it built a software stack and tools to help Chinese developers switch from Nvidia. Major players like Baidu collaborated, optimizing their frameworks for Cambricon chips. This created a feedback loop: more software, more adoption, more momentum. China is building a parallel AI universe with Cambricon at the hardware core. The more popular Cambricon gets, the stronger its network effect. But this walled garden means Cambricon's tech may not be compatible globally. For now, dominating its home turf is more than enough. Every tech disruptor has a story. Cambricon starts with two brothers, Chen Yunji and Chen Tianshi. Both are top academics from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, experts in processor architecture. Before Cambricon, they were pioneers in deep learning hardware, publishing influential research. Their work focused on building chips specifically for AI, not just copying existing designs. Their academic pedigree gave them credibility and strong government ties. When they spun out Cambricon in 2016, they had state support and access to key partners. Cambricon is a model of China's strategy turning state-funded research into strategic companies. The Chen brothers' vision and the geopolitical moment set the stage for Cambricon's explosive rise. Cambricon's flagship is the C1 series, AI training chips built to rival Nvidia's data center GPUs. C1 chips are designed for the heavy lifting of training large AI models. They may not beat Nvidia's latest, but they're competitive with older, export-restricted models. For Chinese companies cut off from Nvidia's best, C1 is the good enough solution. Cambricon offers not just chips but accelerator cards and its own software stack, Bang. This full-stack approach makes it easy for enterprises to adopt Cambricon's platform. The C1 series proves Cambricon can design, manufacture, and support high-performance chips at scale. They're the physical embodiment of China's AI ambitions, and the engine behind Cambricon's revenue surge. In China, C1 is powering the next wave of AI. Cambricon's growth is impressive, but the road ahead is full of challenges. First, customer concentration. Most revenue comes from a handful of big clients. If even one major customer leaves, revenue could plummet. Second, manufacturing. Cambricon relies on TSMC, which is vulnerable to US restrictions. China's own foundries lag behind, creating a bottleneck. Third, the technology gap. C1 chips are still a generation or two behind Nvidia's best. Nvidia's R&D machine is hard to match. Cambricon's success is propped up by market restrictions, not pure tech superiority. Finally, profitability. Cambricon is burning cash to catch up and isn't consistently profitable yet. The company is betting that growth will buy it time to scale and innovate. But with these risks, the bet is huge. The hype is real, but so are the hurdles. Cambricon's next moves will determine if it's a lasting giant or a short-lived phenomenon. Cambricon isn't alone. China's AI chip race is crowded and fierce. Huawei's HiSilicon division is a major rival, with its own Ascend chips and deep resources. Other state-backed players like Hygon and cloud giants like Alibaba and Tencent are designing their own AI chips. Even Cambricon's customers are also competitors. Meanwhile, Nvidia and AMD are selling export-compliant chips in China, still leveraging their global software ecosystems. The competition is relentless. Cambricon must out-innovate Huawei, outvalue Alibaba, and outlast Nvidia's presence. The market that fueled Cambricon's surge is now filling up with rivals. To stay ahead, Cambricon can't afford to slow down. The 4,000% growth was just the beginning. The real test is whether Cambricon can keep winning as the field gets crowded. The race is only getting tougher. So, what's next for Cambricon? Is it a future global giant or just a bubble inflated by geopolitics? The company is pouring money into R&D, aiming to close the tech gap and broaden its customer base. Bulls see a protected trillion-dollar market and a company poised for long-term growth. Bears see tech gaps, manufacturing dependencies, and a business propped up by policy, not pure merit. Cambricon's fate is tied to China's tech self-reliance strategy. Can a company thrive in a walled garden and then compete globally? Or will isolation limit its potential? For now, Cambricon is a high-stakes experiment. The 4,348% surge is just the first chapter. Whether it's a cautionary tale or a legendary success story, the world is watching.